5, we'll begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance to the company.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Schulte?
Yep.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Helms? Here. Mr. Moore? Here. First look at our agenda for today.
Any changes?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Schulte, support from DeVore, for the discussion concerning the agenda for July 9th. Otherwise, all those in favor of approval, signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Now, look at our meeting minutes from June 25.
I'll make a motion to accept those.
Motion approved by Mr. Helmers. Support from Mr. Schulte. Discussion? Comments? Otherwise, all those in favor, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Carpet bids for the jailhouse. Pretty confident they're all comparable, except for the ones not removing furniture.
There's only one that's gonna remove the furniture, and that's why he's a little higher.
That does include money and everything, doesn't it? It says service. Very
$2,800 if you hire some help to move furniture.
Yeah.
Need me, can't you?
We'll have to get with Mr. Weber.
Make a motion to accept the Northwest Decor and Furniture. Support.
Motion made by Mr. Jones, support from Mr. Helmers. Further discussion? Yeah,
Yep.
be open to them hiring help if need be.
it, I'll ask him, yeah.
Oh,
That's covered on there anyway.
Eight fifty, department heads. Sorry. Sorry, first again, everyone.
We got through fiscal year end and year-end came out smoothly. They're trying to start working on taxes. They started on it, but they had to wait for the DPPs to come in from the state, so that is probably ready.
Yeah.
Very busy, as always. A lot of projects going right now, let's see, so for the paving project, Tyler, that's going on, that we're resurfacing, we finished milling on L58, 848, a little portion going through Ocheyedan, as well as some portion of 822, F12 by Bay City, and L50 by Melvin, and then we completed the resurfacing on the Melvin and Bay City Road, and right now they're in the process of resurfacing L58. We completed that chip seal maintenance project over 70 miles, so that's, we're gonna come back, though, and do a couple segments of Northwest Boulevard, far north end and south ends of, Sibley. And then, obviously, we're going to do all FEMA stuff. In regards to maintenance, we've been doing, over the last month, a lot of gravel hauling and maintaining. Maintainers are still going. Last week, we've had to pull some of the trucks because we need help for all of our inspection and all the stuff going on with our project, so. So we haven't had as many truck drivers available. We've been mowing the paved system continuously with our seasonal help, and now we're gonna move on to gravels too. We also have to get the spray truck set up, so we're gonna go out and get a logger, so we're gonna try to figure out a way so we can log these locations like with thistles and such, so we can kind of stay on top of that as well, especially in the future years. This year will be kind of the starting, so kind of getting into that. We're sweeping all those roads with the chip seals, cleaning ditches, salting driveways, roadway culverts. We've been good patching some roads, both with the culvert crossing that we've been replacing as well as blowouts that are blowing, on that concrete over by Jackrabbit, tiling work. Got more bridge repair work coming. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Tyler Avenue, we had a pre-con a little week ago. Not so great news is that they're pushed back now too, schedule-wise, with their schedule. I did emphasize the importance of this completion date, because contractually they're obligated to be completed by October 1. But they are planning on coming later in August to do the paving. Now, they are a big contractor, and they have they're very capable, so when they actually do show up and work, I can see that they're gonna move pretty fast. So they have a big plant, they have really good machinery on the capability to do it. But they are pushed back a little bit, which, is a little bit, not very happy to hear that.
is it ready to pour concrete?
It isn't yet, but it could be in probably a couple weeks. It could be ready for
Well, I went down.
handing the baton off to another
I went
contractor.
down the south end, or looking like that, I quite a little work to do.
There is, but the grading's almost done. They are waiting on Clausen to come and put in the drain tile. He was supposed to show up yesterday, so that's one thing that needs to get done too, the utility stuff real quick. But other than that, when I look at it, as long as they come out and finish it off, it's the gravel hauling that's the big one next, and then just finishing up the ditches and seeding them and all that kind of stuff.
Is there a date of starting to pave at all?
Yeah, they proposed that they would show probably in the middle part of August to do the prep work, and as we get to the end of August, beginning of September, start pouring concrete. So really, the month of September would be a big month for pouring concrete, is what it would look like, and then finishing up the project.
We've got a few CFE employees asking.
Yep.
What's their plan with, for trucks going in and out while you're doing Main Street?
Well, I'm gonna coordinate with CFE about that, because right now we probably have a good week and a half before we get to that point. But it'll be a short duration, and all the paving that takes place in Main Street, it's all gonna take place over like a day. You know what I mean?
And then they'll be able to drive on it again?
Yeah, once it cools, it gets compacted and cools, it's ready to go within like an hour or a half hour. I mean, it's pretty quick. It's just, the most critical zone is gonna be when they get up right to downtown and going down that hill, they're coming into that entrance point. I think that's gonna be the critical zone there, where there could be like a 2-hour impact to like, you know, that speed mill. That's why I told them, to tell me at least a few days in advance when we get this, we can even have our own formal meeting with CFE, so we can coordinate that more exact, and actually see what might work for them too, if we can avoid certain things to help them. And maybe they'll do it, they'll hit it late too, I don't know what time they shut down, you know, or if they never shut down, you know, so like, yeah. Cause, you know, they paid till $8, you know, like that.
They did that 2 miles by Malvern that day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as vehicles can keep going, or that's all they did.
Oh, yeah, no, they
Never stopped.
oh, no, it's gonna be the best you can have for what we're doing. It can't get any better than it, so,
I was actually surprised they didn't shut the road down, but the road.
it was a soft closure, you know. You know, that's the way we're doing it, and the reason why is to save money. Because it would cost a lot more if we did it, you know, with pilot cars and all that kind of stuff. Like, we're low volume. Not a lot of traffic, you know. Yep. Another thing I'll be maybe having discussions about, this, I think is pretty important, you know, more so in thinking about posterity and the future of the county and long-term health, financial health, would be, gravel and gravel resources. I did learn that there is, a place that may be coming up to purchase for gravel, you know, in Jason's mind, gravel pit, but I'd like to have that discussion with you guys individually too, just to talk to, you know, share some of my thoughts on that. I don't wanna take up time here, you know, I think it's pretty important, so. Want to raise that to you too.
No? No one?
Things haven't been too crazy. Worked on some resolutions with Aaron regarding stop sign, speed limits, all that fun stuff. Engine braking, based on our prior ordinance. Last week we had juvenile court day, it was pretty busy. I think we might be moving towards a few termination hearings there in the future, the near future, so pick up a little bit. What else? Just kind of been trying to pick up some, you know, longer term items, like doing forfeiture petitions, looking at some policies in, sheriff's office, don't have a chance. Kind of just some cleanup now, things are a little slower for me. Recently, I did, get, new chair, new computers, new carpet, Ernie got me a fan tower, so the office is looking up upstairs, I'm pretty happy about that. And, yeah, besides that, it's kind of been, like I said, trying to pick up some of the longer term items in my students, so.
Good morning. I tried very hard to get the governor to achieve on the 20th for CFP. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with her schedule, but her scheduler said she would be happy to fit it in, a visit to the mill when she's going to be in the area. So happy to work with them on that. When that happens, I had invited her to the fair. Also said, can the lieutenant governor come? But unfortunately, no. So I struck out there. But we'll work on getting her here another time. I'm going to keep touting the website. We're increasing like 25% month on month right now, which is really good. A lot less people thinking we're the Gazette, because for a while there, and I literally got a couple people wanting to place an ad, so there's a, you know, thought for later revenue, but politely push them back. But, you know, June was up 63% from April. I mean, we're getting a lot of visits, a lot of people looking at news, attractions, things like, you know, Cheesy Mountain we're looking at, events, jobs, so it's really going very well. I wanted to give a quick update on Northwest Iowa Development, because I do go to those meetings on the executive committee, and it's a very important group, and I'm very thankful that the county pays for us to be members of that. You know, through that, obviously being new for me, it's great for the networking with people that have a little bit more tenure in economic development, but, you know, beyond that, it's access to things like Synchronous, which we can track our business visits and workforce data, Location One, which is increasingly important to get our real estate
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Schulte?
Yep.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Helmers? Here. Mr. DeBoer?
Here.
First look at our agenda for today.
Any changes?
I don't have it.
I'll make a motion on the agenda.
Schulte, support from DeBoer, for the discussion concerning the agenda for July 9. Otherwise, all those in favor of approval, signify with aye. All those opposed, same sign. Now, look at our meeting minutes from June 25.
I'll make a motion to accept those.
Motion to approve, Mr. Helmers. Support from Mr. Schulte. Any discussion? Comments? Otherwise, all those in favor, signify with aye. All those opposed, same sign. Carpet bids for the jailhouse.
Pretty confident they're all comparable, except for the ones not moving furniture.
There's only one that's gonna remove the furniture, and that's why he's a little higher.
That does include money and everything, doesn't it? It's service. Figured that.
$2,800, you could hire some help to move furniture.
Yeah.
Need me, can't you?
We'll have to get with Mr. Weber.
Make a motion to accept the Northwest Decor and Furniture bid.
Support them.
Motion made by Mr. Jones, support from Mr. Helmers. Further discussion? Yeah, I'd be open to them hiring help if need be. Do the furniture moving, since I did the discrepancy between the highest bid and the lower bid. Any comments or discussion? All those in favor of the bid from Northwest Decor as moved, signify with aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, that totals $3,641.30. And trusting your math.
we got through fiscal year end and year end everything went smoothly. They're trying to start working on taxes. They started on it, but they had to wait for the DPPs to come in from the state, so that just.
Very busy, as always. A lot of projects going right now, let's see, so for the paving project that's going on, that we're resurfacing, we finished milling on L58, 848, a little portion going to Ocheyedan, as well as some portion of 822, F12 by Bay City, and L50 by Melvin, and then we completed the resurfacing on the Melvin and Bay City Road, and right now they're in the process of resurfacing L58. We completed that chip seal maintenance project over 70 miles. So that's, we're going to come back though and do a couple segments of Northwest Boulevard, far north end and south ends of Sibley. And then, so we're going to do all the FEMA stuff. In regards to maintenance, we've been doing over the last month a lot of gravel hauling and maintaining. Maintainers are still going. Last week, we've had to pull some of the trucks because we need help for all of our inspection and all the stuff going on with our project. So we haven't had as many truck drivers available. We've been mowing the paved system continuously with our seasonal help, and now we're going to move on to gravels too. We also have to get the spray truck set up, so we're going to go out and we got a logger, so we're going to try to figure out a way so we can log these locations like with thistles and such, so we can kind of stay on top of that as well, especially in the future years. This year will be kind of the starting, so kind of getting into that. We were sweeping all those roads with the chip seals, cleaning ditches, sawing driveways, roadway culverts. We've been patching some roads, both with the culvert crossings that we've been replacing as well as blowouts. We have a blowout, on that concrete over by Jackrabbit, tiling work. Got more bridge repair work coming. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Tyler Avenue, we had a pre-con a little week ago. Not so great news is that they're pushed back now too schedule-wise with their schedule. I did emphasize the importance of this completion date because contractually they're obligated to be completed by October 1. But they are planning on coming later in August to do the paving. Now, they are a big contractor and they have they're very capable, so when they actually do show up and work, I can see that they're gonna move pretty fast. But they have a big plant, they have really good machinery on the capability to do it. But they are pushed back a little bit, which, is a little bit, not very happy to hear that.
Is it ready for concrete?
It isn't yet, but it could be in probably a couple weeks. It could be ready for
I went down.
handing the baton off to another contractor.
I went down the south end or something like that, I quite a little work to do.
There is, but the grading's almost done. They are waiting on Clausen to come and put in the drain tile. He was supposed to show up yesterday, so that's one thing that needs to get done too, the utility stuff real quick. But other than that, when I look at it, as long as they come out and finish it off, it's the gravel hauling that's the big one next, and then just finishing up the ditches and seeding them and all that kind of stuff.
Is there a date of starting to pave at all?
Yeah, they proposed that they would show probably in the middle part of August to do the prep work, and as we get to the end of August, beginning of September, start pouring concrete. So really, the month of September would be a big month for pouring concrete, is what it would look like, and then finishing up the project.
We've got a few CFE employees asking.
Yep.
What's their plan for trucks going in and out while you're doing Main Street?
Well, I'm gonna coordinate with CFE about that, because right now we probably have a good week and a half before we get to that point. But it'll be a short duration, and all the paving that takes place in Main Street, it's all gonna take place over like a day. You know what I mean?
And then they'll be able to drive on it again?
Yeah, because once it cools and it gets compacted and cooled, it's ready to go on within like an hour or a half hour. I mean, it's pretty quick. It's just, the most critical zone is gonna be when they get up right to downtown and going down that hill, they're coming into that entrance point. I think that's gonna be the critical zone there, where there could be like a 2-hour impact to like, that speed mill. That's why I told them to tell me at least a few days in advance when we're gonna get this, we can even have our own formal meeting with CFE, so we can coordinate that more exactly, and actually see what might work for them too, if we can avoid certain things. And maybe they'll do it, they'll hit it late too, I don't know what time they shut down, you know, or if they never shut down, you know, so like, yeah. Cause you know, they paid till $8, you know, like that.
They did that 2 miles by Malvern that day.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So vehicles can keep going on it.
Well, they did.
Oh, yeah.
Never stop.
Oh, no, it's gonna be the best you can have for what we're doing. It can't get any better than that, so,
I was actually surprised they didn't shut the road down. The road.
it was a soft closure, you know. You know, that's the way we're doing it, and the reason why is to save money. Because it would cost a lot more if we did it, you know, pilot cars and all that kind of stuff. Like, we're low volume. Not a lot of traffic, you know. Yep. Another thing I'll be maybe having discussions about, this, I think is pretty important, you know, more so in thinking about posterity and the future of the county and long-term health, financial health, would be, gravel and gravel resources. I did learn that there is, a place that may be coming up to purchase for gravel, you know, in case my gravel pit, but I'd like to have that discussion with you guys individually too, just to talk to, you know, share some of my thoughts on that. I don't wanna take up time here, you know, but I think it's pretty important, so. I wanted to raise that to you too. Anything else? No one?
I think they haven't been too crazy, worked out some resolutions with Aaron regarding, stop sign, speed limits, all that fun stuff, engine braking, based on our prior ordinance. Last week we had juvenile court day, it was pretty busy. I think we might be moving towards a few termination hearings there in the future, the near future, so. A couple little bits. What else? Just kind of been trying to pick up some, you know, longer term items, like doing forfeiture petitions, looking at some policies in, sheriff's office, don't have a chance. Kind of just some cleanup now, that things are a little slower for me. Recently, I did, get, new chair, new computers, new carpet. Bernie got me a fan tower, so the office is looking up upstairs. I'm pretty happy about that. And, yeah, besides that, it's kind of been, like I said, trying to pick off some of the longer term items for my students.
Good morning. I tried very hard to get the governor to achieve on the 20th for CFP. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with her schedule, but her scheduler said she would be happy to fit it in, a visit to the mill when she's going to be in the area. So happy to work with them on that. When that happens, I had invited her to the fair. Also said, can the lieutenant governor come? But unfortunately, no. So I struck out there, but we'll work on getting her here another time. I'm going to keep touting the website. We're increasing like 25% month on month right now, which is really good. A lot less people thinking we're the Gazette, because for a while there, and I literally got a couple people wanting to place an ad. So there's a, you know, thought for later revenue, but politely push them back. But, you know, June was up 63% from April. I mean, we're getting a lot of visits, a lot of people looking at news, attractions, things like, you know, Cheese Mountain we're looking at, events, jobs, so it's really going very well. I wanted to give a quick update on Northwest Iowa Development, because I do go to those meetings every month, on the executive committee, and it's a very important group, and I'm very thankful that the county pays for us to be members of that. You know, through that, obviously being new for me, it's great for the networking with people that have a little bit more tenure in economic development, but, you know, beyond that, it's access to things like Synchronous, which we can track our business visits and workforce data, Location One, which is increasingly important to get our real estate
assets on there. CDN, which is where we get most of our leads for business attraction. So all those are part of Northwest Iowa Development. You know, CDN's fantastic. Justin Erickson is extremely responsive. You know, I put forward the Cap Arms building last month for a prospect that's looking at 10 to 12 to 20 jobs. So, you know, they meet, I think, 3 times a year at an event in the city. So I'm looking at going in August, particularly if a couple of these prospects that we submitted for will actually be there in person. You would have all, I think by now, got to save the date for the annual partner meeting for Northwest Iowa Development, which is September 18th at 5 p.m. in Rock Valley. You know, I hope you can attend, but if there's any questions at any time about Northwest Iowa Development, I really do encourage you to come to me about it. You may have heard, not heard, that we were a 6-region group, that now we've had surprises of both Plymouth County and Cherokee County drop out. Their assets on there. CDN, which is where we get most of our leads for business attraction. So all those are part of Northwest Iowa Development. You know, CDN's fantastic. Justin Erickson is extremely responsive. You know, I put forward the Cap Arms building last month for a prospect that's looking at 10 to 12 to 20 jobs. So, you know, they meet, I think, 3 times a year at an event in the city. So I'm looking at going in August, particularly if a couple of these prospects that we submitted for will actually be there in person. You would have all, I think by now, got to save the date for the annual partner meeting for Northwest Iowa Development, which is September 18th at 5 p.m. in Rock Valley. You know, I hope you can attend, but if there's any questions at any time about Northwest Iowa Development, I really do encourage you to come to me about it. You may have heard, not heard, that we were a 6-region group, that now we've had surprises of both Plymouth County and Cherokee County drop out. Their reasonings were not really accurate. Some of the things that were expressed, that they said that, you know, they thought that they weren't getting a return on investment, that everything was happening to the north. They blamed that, you know, they're not affiliated with Northwest Community College, that there were a lot of things that were wrong, but basically they didn't come to the board or any of the members to express any of their concerns about it. And basically what seems to happen is Cherokee and Plymouth want to work together. Their supervisor basically said it's probably going to cost us more money in the long term, but this is what they've decided right now. But the city of Lamar still wants to stay within Northwest Iowa Development. So it's a little bit of a messy situation right now. We're just trying to go forward with our strategic plans and everything. But, you know, the foreign trade zone is still put forward as a 6-county entity, and we're lucky to have that. And our first company, Coilcraft, is actually just about to sign the dotted line, and that's income for Northwest Iowa Development, which helps when we don't have 2 counties in there. But, you know, it's a little bit of a, we just have to move forward, but I think we all know we need to do a better job of letting our elected officials understand the importance and what we get out of Northwest Iowa Development. So, you know, one of the things that they started is the sector manufacturing group, and I looked when I went to the first meeting, and I didn't see Osceola County anywhere, because we did have a business that's a member. We do now. TC Transcontinental has joined that, and that's all about marketing a region. You know, instead of each of us trying to battle why we should, you know, how we're attractive for this sector, we're just working together to market the region for manufacturing. They're looking at doing that for food manufacturing down the road, but at least, you know, we do get traffic from that site quite a bit on jobs, so people are looking at that. So, just a quick, not so quick wrap up for Northwest Owner Development. To other developments, Snap-on Tools is looking good. I know he was a bit behind, but, you know, we've got the walls are up and things are looking a little muddy out there. But Chris does have his building for sale, Little Florida, I think you call it. He's got it listed with a real estate, company. Hope Haven, I think you've probably heard they are gonna be looking to sell that building. Pam DeBoon came in the other day, their boss was handling that. Basically, the workshop, you know, the state has kind of cut that unfortunately, and I know that building is 15 years old, but a very nice building. They do need to have office space eventually when they get rid of that building, but right now it's for sale or lease, so if you know anyone looking for a nice building, $375,000 is what they've got listed for. There's a new food truck, the old 9 and 59, if you have seen it, Sled Swine, the corner. Jeannie Adams, she's kind of offering a food truck experience. I think she's been open not quite 2 months yet. And I did read there was another barbecue food truck getting started. It was in the Northwest Iowa paper on the weekend. So, and between that and Dreaming Brewery, which I know they're working hard to get that open, that's gonna be great. A lot of people love to go to craft, you know, breweries from around the area. Lastly, Community Foundation, I'm doing lots of digging into our processes, application materials. You know, we have free reign with that application. If it's too long, too complicated, we can do what we want with it. I know a lot of you have been very involved over the years. Any feedback on that, please come to me. We'll find out how much money we get from time in August. That's it for me.
I just want to attest to it, I was really impressed with her, way she's been managing that website. I gave her some stuff to put on there, and I was just amazed at how the efficiency and the quality of what was being produced on there. I just want to, you know, say that.
I'm getting good feedback from a lot of people in the community, and I know that people are using it, which is the whole point. It's about sharing news, sharing certainly our assets for the commercial side, but also as a larger county, you know, I want people to see that we're vibrant, we have things going on, and definitely the diversity in what people are looking at is good to see.
Is Northwest Iowa Planning and Development, they have all the commercial listings and stuff on their website for commercial properties.
Yeah, basically Location One is the product, and we get a license to that through the state, and it's managed by Northwest Iowa Development as our regional partner, but we list them all, like it's on our website, so anything I list is on Northwest Iowa Development site because it pulls from the counties that are a part of it.
So who updates those websites? Northwest Iowa Development,
They-
commercial properties, or the individual people that do
It's
it?
really up to each individual county to make sure that what's on there is accurate and up to date. So, you know, I don't have anything to do with the other counties. I'm focused on making sure everything that we have available is on our site. And then that's pulled both to the national Location One. It should be pulled through the state too. Sometimes it seems like other areas have higher priorities and they may pay for that, but Northwest Iowa Development pulls from whatever I put on in there.
I know the last time I talked to them, 'cause I get a lot of calls for properties on that website,
Okay.
and some of them have been sold 5 years ago, and I'm still getting calls on them because they haven't updated the pages to pull them off.
From other counties?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I had a lot of listings in Kansas City at my last job, and I felt like Location One was like part of me, and I'm very accurate, and I don't want anything on there that's not right, so I've made sure that ours are as up to date as I can be.
So how do you get them to update it?
You need whoever is the economic development office in that area to get up there, and they can see when the last time they've updated a record, and they can see how complete it is, if it's only 20% filled out with information or 100, because there's a lot of fields, so, but yeah, they'll live in there forever. I wish they would inactivate it after maybe a year that they hadn't updated it, but you have to ask the higher ups to do that, but I was like, I don't think you're in ours, so I'm glad, because I try to keep it very up to date.
Thank you.
Well, the 17th of next Wednesday, Evertech is coming in. They'll be installing the cameras down at the Underwood. And then our first set of doors have been installed at the garage over at the sheriff's. And this weekend, I was told that John Smith should be starting the next set of doors, steel doors, at the courthouse. If not this weekend, next week, they'll be starting to replace. It's nice, the doors shut automatically and they lock automatically. So they're pretty nice. The other thing is, if you have a color preference, I'll be painting the doors, so right now they have a primer green color. So I'll be painting those doors later. So if there's a color that you like, let me know. It's gotta be a light color, because you don't want it coming dark, otherwise it attracts that sun and that might swell up again. So. Other than that, everything else is going good, other than all that mowing.
So they're finally done with the tuck pointing?
They're done with the tuck pointing. And with all that rain that we have, no leaks.
How long warranty was on that?
5. I did ask Randy to come back next year, just to do a follow-up, to make sure that if we had any issues, at least he's here and I'll be taking any type of notes. So, good.
Conditions were less than ideal for him, but he seemed to
He worked
roll
through
with
it.
it or work with
Yeah.
it and didn't seem to get too frustrated or.
Yeah, the second time around, he didn't have the manpower that he had the first time around, so it made it really difficult.
What are we at with those security cameras?
Security cameras, they're coming in next Wednesday to get them installed. So,
Nick?
We made it through the 4th, which was probably the busiest park weekend, I guess, of the summer. All the campgrounds were busy. I guess Willow Creek was full, and we had quite a few out at Hawkeye. Other than that, park maintenance, been mowing a few thistles, starting to look at where we can put a new bathroom at our DOT North Y, to get that one replaced and get it off of private property. So that's kind of a process, I guess, with the way that property was acquired through the Iowa DOT. It's old highway right of way that was gifted to the county through a transfer of jurisdiction and then a quitclaim deed later on. So trying to find those documents and then figure out if it's still technically classified as road right of way or if it's just county property, and see what we have to do to get that squared away so we can get a construction permit and get a building put out there. Other than that, I did get a verbal estimate for that hole that we had talked about a couple months ago on the trail behind Walters Prairie. And their verbal estimate for getting that fixed with digging out the old pipe and putting in a new dual wall tile and then repacking everything was $10,000. So that was mega, is the way I had to look at it.
I had talked to a guy that said thought he could just fix it, fill in the hole and make it work. I can talk to you later about that.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, it's Mary's license season again, and we're still working on both, and, finishing up with some year-end reports, and, other than that, we're just, normal documents, and started scanning the old books that we've had. We've got the indexing done on, so we're working on that.
Thanks to Rochelle, I was reminded it was my turn. Thanks to Liddy and Jonathan. Thank you, guys. Liability insurance increase options. All right, Bill, what's my
Go ahead, Jim. For don't say
Anything on?
Get that urgent look on your face. You know, whenever you talk about insurance, people feel like they need to go to the bathroom.
Just need to go.
Just get down. Yes, it is. Those are great bedtime stories for me. I'll just put you right to sleep. Yep. I'll have a good one. Yep, see ya.
Well, a week or so ago, we got the, opportunity to consider increased excess liability coverage, $1 million at a time. And we were talking $600 or so. I think that's well worth considering.
Yeah.
But
Upon further review, that was incorrect.
this new, I guess, more accurate
Yes.
information was submitted to increase it $1 million, it would be $1641. To go up $2 million from where I would be $3,158 more. Certainly worth considering. I know somebody went through the whole process. There were comments made that this is enough, you can go to no end, and
Yeah.
we were right where we're at.
You know, and just so you're aware, they're gonna offer it every year. I mean, they do it on every renewal, because we don't know how much is enough. You know, and I'm sorry to say that. Tell me what's gonna happen, and I'll tell you what you'll need. I did bring this back from last year, brought it along. 40% of all Iowa counties carry $5 million or less. And 29% of Iowa counties carry $6 to $9 million. And there's 12% of them carry 10 million minutes. There's only 19% carry 11 to 15 million. Now, what is Osceola ranks 97th out of 99 counties in population? I think that's pretty close, if it's not right on. But does that mean that you have less liability? I don't know. I really don't know. Last week I brought Michelle a voucher. It was like somewhat of a profit sharing check that they sent this. I think it ended up being $1,542.
Yeah.
$1,542 that they gave back the county as a voucher. And she can take that off of this year's price of $70,678. Or she pays the $70,678 and then cashes the $1,542. A lot of people want to pay the whole amount, so then you know what your insurance costs are without the credit, if that makes sense. Overall, the premium went down about $381 from last year on the ICAP policy, and the work comp actually went up about $9,000. The good thing is it wasn't due to losses, wasn't due to your actual rate went down, but by giving raises, and then this last year, did we have extra secondary roads out on the moving snow? There's a lot of overtime. Yeah. That was probably the main reason that the work comp went up, is because of that. But if it's flat next year, then the premium will go down accordingly. So, but I just wanted to come in front of the board and say that they will do that every year and offer that. So if you decide to look at it, there's a $1,542 credit. It almost pays for the increased million. So it's up to you guys.
So any year when they present this, feel free to have it added to an agenda if you guys want to. So we haven't heard anything this year.
So we're at $2 million now, right?
Yeah,
You're at $2 million with $1 million excess, so you have $3 million total right now.
I guess this year, I think that's good. That's just my thought.
Okay. Everybody, we'll do it every year. Good. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything extra. Is there, Rochelle?
I contacted all the townships. Three of them have contract labor. They use, and then a few of them, they use the township mower to mow the lawn and all that stuff. So I'm working on getting those forms out to them to sign.
And then those would be covered on the volunteer policy of the IMWCA policy. Okay. So how would they be, if they're paid, how would they be covered under the volunteer? Well,
Well, right now, is there any place else that they make money? We don't know that. It's a minimum premium of $100, so I mean, I'm just trying to figure out a way to protect you guys. I had Andrew Justice from IMWCA on a call last week with Rochelle, and he explained it, how to do that. But the ones like, for the Holman Township Cemetery, West Holman, remember, there's a contract on it. We have the county listed as a additional insured. We had Dean Ackman, he's doing something out in Southwest Fairgrounds. North 40, okay. So he shows certificates of insurance. It's just that, I'm just watchful if you guys have your exposures covered.
I guess I'm still not sure, how does, if, like Baker Township pays a guy, how does he fall under volunteer?
Well, he can fall, but that's what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to cover it, but because if he's not gonna show you a certificate of insurance showing the county as an additional insured on his insurance, then you might have an exposure.
In Baker Township, they use township lawnmower, not his, so
Right.
he would still need,
Right.
he doesn't need to show me, does he need to show the county liability?
If you're paying him to do that, then he should show that on his insurance, that the county is an additional insured on his insurance policy. That's the main, that thing, that his insurance is primary in the event that something happens to him, and it absolves you from any workers' comp, because you've established now that he is an independent contractor.
But even if he uses the township equipment,
Yeah, that's the gray area we're creating.
okay, so I need certificate of liability and he needs to sign that volunteer.
If he wants to bring his certificate, if they don't, you want to put him on as the volunteer. Basically, that's it in a nutshell. If they don't bring a certificate of insurance, you put him on as volunteer.
Then he's not covered, is he?
Yes, according to Andrew,
Even if we pay him?
according to Andrew, yeah. Because when we talk about the trustees, and we talk about all that, and all they're automatically included, whether they're paid or not. We talked about the EMA board, we talked about E911 board, they're all included in the county's workers' comp. But it's these little satellite things that the trustees are doing.
Michelle, you still look confused.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure I get everything.
Yeah,
I am too. If you're working for the fair board, you're an employee, but if you're working for the township trustees, you're a volunteer.
Right, but I didn't ever say anything about an employee for the fair board.
Well, that's how we have him listed now, in order to cover him.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole different thing, yeah. These are people that are mowing for you, out in these cemeteries. Now, it's really easy, they either bring you a certificate of insurance saying the county is an additional insured, or you put them on as the volunteer.
Even if it doesn't matter what equipment they use, I
Right,
need that.
you want that.
Okay. So then,
Does it make sense? Does it make sense? No, what I'm trying to do is cover, because if let's say that something happens out there, and we should have had him on as a volunteer, and we didn't do it because we were paying a little stipend for doing the mowing, and you guys are left with the exposure.
But he is being paid.
I think the difference, sorry.
Right?
If they are being paid, that's where they need
He's
to
being
show.
paid, he's
I think
not
the
volunteer.
difference with the fair situation is the amount of hours. There was no way you could say that that's not a county employee because of the amount of hours that were required. Whereas I don't know all the specifics, but I'm guessing in this, when you're going and doing it for a few hours once a week, it's different than.
That's more than a few hours once a week in the cemetery, and how often it's been raining. He's probably a temporary part-time employee in the summer.
I'd say it's 5, 6, I'm just guessing 5, 6. You maybe know, Michelle, what he gets.
yeah, the township pays them, so
Yeah.
we never see that.
Is that something we should look into, is put them on, like we did with.
To me, he's the same thing as Doyle.
Okay, then.
To me.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I,
But I'm,
The thing is, it makes no difference to me. What I'm trying to do is, if you guys wanna do that, I'm all for it, because that is actually the correct way to do it.
but how does that work then if the township pays him, then we have to, the township, just like the fair board, has to reimburse the county
Yeah, I would say.
for paying him?
I would say.
I know some that give a 1099 at the end of the year too.
Mhm.
And, okay, so then what about grave digging? Is that,
You should get certificates of insurance for that too.
That should be a contract.
okay,
You know, the thing is, this crazy, it's never been done before, and the thing that's awesome about it, nothing's ever happened. I just don't want something to happen on my watch. And these things aren't done. And I'll talk with Aaron about it, you know, about with the guys putting on the new tops, you know, never getting certificates of insurance. They're out there doing work for the county. Are you kidding me? You want those guys to be primary, not you guys. Just trying to minimize exposure for you.
Because it is getting worse.
Absolutely,
The situation in the county right now, it's,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a bad deal.
And
It's just amazing how quickly things turn. I mean, you know, I don't think I'm talking out of school with the guy that fell off the building over here across from the city. City kids, who knows? It didn't have anything to do with it.
so do you think would be a good idea to have a meeting with the township
I do.
clerk, just so that we
I
can
do.
explain this to them?
I do.
I mean, they know about some of it, but I think,
And I have no problem if you guys want me to come and
I think that.
try to muddy up the water.
I do,
Okay, I'd be happy to do that.
personally, you know. I think
You know,
because I've had some questions and I'm going, oh, well, I'm kind of like Michelle, I'm not sure on that, you know.
you know, like the fair board stuff, I mean, it took a while for people to understand. They're just going doing their thing, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as nothing happens.
It shouldn't be this way, but this is the way it is.
Right. I totally agree. Great way of saying it.
so are you thinking like during a board meeting, after a board meeting, at the time for them to come?
Trustees to make it.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Evening meeting.
Maybe the clerk, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
How many trustee board members are there?
There's 11 townships.
Mhm.
There's four clerks and then
So there's about 40 people there. That'd be like herding cats.
You know, there's
one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, make sure that at least one or two show up, that'd be great.
this one, they can explain it without me trying to explain it.
You know, I'll say it in front of her, she's been doing a great job, but she's been spending more time with me than she wants. And we're getting along fine, aren't we?
Yeah, we're doing good, you've been easy to work with, I appreciate that.
Well, just more things pop up all the time.
It seems like.
Think about it, you know.
Mhm. You know, it seems like the longer I've been involved, the more I see, so then that's why I address it.
Well, I'm like, yeah, with this bigger budget deal, to me, it's the same thing as oil.
Okay.
To me,
Yeah.
it probably makes more than that.
Sure.
To be honest,
What does he do for a main job?
I'm not sure what it is.
What is he? Okay.
The guy that,
Yeah,
that molder?
or the most of the fairgrounds.
Oh, no,
No,
I'm
no, no.
talking about that molder. I think his name is Molder, isn't it? It's
Oh,
big
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
I'm not sure what it is. Lives in Chiefs.
Mhm.
I know he has another job.
Yeah.
Well, and usually what ends up happening too, like when you're talking with the contractor, well, then the actual cost for the mowing goes up also too. Because what they do is they end up passing that extra expense by getting the insurance that they need to list you as an additional insured, they pass that on to cover their expense.
Plus, the cost is going up here too.
Absolutely.
Either insurance or.
Yep. But my main focus is trying to cover the interest of the county.
Yeah, Michelle, did you get Jacob listed, boss?
No, we didn't
No.
know it, not yet, because I didn't,
He needs to be on that.
I'm not,
Volunteer.
Yeah, we did talk about him.
Yeah.
As far as he would qualify for that volunteer thing.
and then,
Then we
But I
talked
think
about
I
her.
think he thought it was really a bear, but he was mowing out there one day and I said, can't be mowing.
Yeah.
It was worse than me, so.
Yeah.
I helped my dad out and I said, well, we really gotta get on the list, so
Yeah.
before you.
Yeah, we'll just put him on as that volunteer. You know, we talked about it here last week too. Ernie had his boy out here mowing.
He hasn't lately, but he asked about it, because he overheard me talking to the township clerk.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, unless he signs it.
Well, no, she looked at it like, well, probably will that one, I said, trying to cover the county's butt. Yeah, and you gotta remember, it's nothing personal, you guys don't make the rules, you're just trying to follow them, same as I'm trying to do. Just wanna make sure it's done correctly. You're sick of me already, aren't you? You were sick of me when I walked in. Put that out, it was very obvious, it's like going home, it's you.
So when do you think we should have the township meeting? What works for everybody?
Well, really, if it works for Bill, yeah. You just set a date and we don't have to be there. Yeah. Probably I'm not gonna, maybe one of you show up, but, you know, you don't have to be there.
Okay, have their regular meetings.
Not very often. They haven't had 2 a year, and that's usually at budget time, so I'm thinking they're won't have any good until next January.
I think sometimes they meet in the summer.
Oh, that could be.
Is there another location other than here, or is this the best location? I mean, somebody's gonna have to drive no matter where you. Well, I was gonna say, I mean, we'll be at Willow Creek, we can do that. It can be done outside, we can, you know, it's not, it's just so the board members understand.
Yeah, I'm okay with picking a date, but I think you're gonna miss half of them probably, and that would just be to keep record of who wasn't there and maybe try to ask them to just notify you when their meetings are and everything. I'd like to get it taken care of in short order, but I'm not gonna delude myself to say it's gonna be cleaned up quickly. But
Just, I'd set it sometime in August and just set a date. I don't know, we should have before that.
give a little thought and we can, talk about it next meeting or something.
That first full week in August, I'll be gone, so it's going to be official.
Well, that's busy, that's what I'm gonna.
And you got, well, I'll see if Woody can step in here and help out.
And I really, so don't do anything more at the township until we have this meeting, or try to get,
It'd be nice to just have a letter drafted,
right,
sent out to everybody, kind of explaining where they're at and where to get the information, and make a individual appointment with you to get the info.
That'll be fine.
maybe.
I'd probably come because that's my district and they got some questions.
That's great.
Appreciate that. That's probably the main, I don't know if any other township has their own lawn, do they?
I thought there was another one. I don't
Yeah, I know
know
like
if either contract
Gold,
is.
they just owns that. Put his own lawn or something.
Same way with Amy Boyd,
You know, I could,
May City, who does May City?
They contract now, Merlin does it.
Takes care of that one out here north of City, I know.
I think that's the Candy Boyd. That, by Bronze or Bronze, yeah, I think Candy Boyd do that one.
Maybe you would have to get together, I don't know.
well, you know, like I said, it's gonna be tough, but maybe try to get as many as you can. You know, at least that'll be accomplished, but I think, send out a letter and it's a good idea.
So maybe the second week in August or something, maybe?
That should be fine.
Like that Monday night, maybe the 12th,
Okay.
maybe, would that work for everybody tentatively? That is, we're here, the courthouse at 7 o'clock, and
Okay.
go from there?
Yep.
Okay. I'll draft a letter and I'll forward it to you, and you can critique it.
We'll review it together.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Yeah, you remember, I'm Michelle's wingman on this.
So good.
I don't know. So,
Okay.
any other questions? Okay, thanks a lot, appreciate your time, and, you know, I'm sorry to create this unsettling, but as
once we get it all settled, we'll be fine, so. Okay? Safety guys will be here Thursday. We need you, like a little creek about 10:30.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be Thursday, okay?
Yep.
Right, sounds good. That's all I got.
All right.
Meeting's so right.
Thanks, Rob.
No, thanks a lot, appreciate it.
All right. Back up, and we got the revenues for allocated to county conservation and acquisition trust fund in 1920. This one is, or?
That's what fiscal year ends on June 30, 2019, what we received that fiscal year, that fiscal year. And we'll move it when it's general basic. Yeah, what Lyon County did, and then, O'Brien County, they give them all of their camping fees, goes into land acquisition. And then, Lyon County, you know, they have Lake Sequoia there, so they give direction. They give them $129,680. That comes from $38,000 cabin rental revenue, $26,180 from permanent site revenue, like 70% of that, and then $65,500 from weekly park revenues, which is about 30% of what they receive.
Sounds like we need to up our ability to get more revenue.
And then O'Brien County, they have that park in Paulina.
Yeah, and Dog Creek.
Where else they have.
Dog Creek, big one.
Dollars.
Yeah, that one's closed this year.
Yeah.
They're redoing it all.
Do you have a breakdown of the camping fees from Hawkeye Point versus?
No, they all go into one.
It'd be nice to earmark the Hawkeye Point camping fees for improvements there, just because they're kind of run by another set of volunteers that don't have access to the budget money, that's trying to get grant money to get things fixed there.
$650, one was earmarked Willow Creek. And what the other ones, they're not really.
Do you have that?
I can get close.
I mean, we can set up.
We make a handwritten note of every time we collect a camping receipt and which campground it went to.
So you got a total from both campsites as to what dollars go where.
Yeah, should.
Remember, land acquisition can be used for upkeep and
Capital improvement projects.
capital improvement.
So like, I think we paid for our portion of the water line installation out of land acquisition for Hawkeye Point.
Grant money for the rest of those improvements, and then trying to get that webcam and everything else that wasn't covered
All through the,
by the high pointers there,
yeah.
doing their burger barn and the rest of that stuff, come up with money for that.
Well, that's where I was caution against using all of the camping revenue into land acquisition if our hands are tied on the maintenance items for those places.
Like that repainting of the corn crib, they're paying for out of the grant money.
Community foundation grant.
That's not coming out of land acquisition.
No, no,
I mean,
no. And to throw a curveball at you, I think when that campground was established, actually Mike must have come in and the supervisor signed a resolution saying that the camping money would go to the Hawkeye Point Foundation.
I don't think it is.
It's not. It's not.
but Hawkeye Point Foundation kind of took ownership and maintenance of
Yep.
that too.
Yep.
That probably changed, or we'd have to look at the 2080 that's signed with them, the agreement that's signed with them. But
If it was set up like it would normally be with the rest of the parks, all that maintenance with the painting and all the other repairs and treatment would all be coming out of your budget versus them trying to round up grant money to do it.
yeah. conservation department, I just would hesitate to put too much of it into land acquisition.
Yeah. So is there a dollar amount we're looking at for what we wanna put into land acquisition?
Or percentage.
Yeah, we're gonna go with a percentage rather than identifying a dollar amount.
That would make sense.
Just like for identifying,
They said they had to identify it, you didn't say it had to be a dollar amount, so
Because you don't know where you're gonna be at, percentage wise.
then it can change every year depending what, like,
Yeah.
we need $10,000 to fix that hole in the trail. That's not coming out of conservation, so.
So, the only thing that I'll bring up is that it was mentioned to me that it had been talked about, the rent money for the Loaf property going into the conservation budget to help offset the cost of like, well, say this new bathroom, putting it at the Y, which got switched from the general basic fund to the land acquisition fund for my budget for this year. The expenditure for that.
Run that by me again.
Okay, so when I originally wrote my budget last year, I had that new bathroom that we wanted to put in. I had it in the general fund, coming out of the general fund, and then it got switched and is now coming out of the land acquisition fund.
So then what did you do with that residual that we had already had planned in your budget for that bath?
It's not there. That money got taken out of the general fund and put into the land acquisition fund. So like that line item is just gone out of the general fund portion of things. And it's now a special project listed under the land A.
And then property taxes that you'll have to pay, and that will, that come out of land acquisition or general, right? Because you have to pay taxes on it now,
Yeah.
getting that from it.
So it had been mentioned that if we did that, that the
How much
land,
is in the land acquisition fund currently?
500,000, which is pretty much just that low money,
490, is it 490 something?
492, something like that. So it was mentioned to me and I figured I'd bring it up. Friendly.
Anybody got any thoughts on the percentage?
Campers?
For all the money that is going into the general fund between rent, camping fees, and the other miscellaneous dollars.
So you're asking for all of it, right?
All of what?
All that camping,
No, I'm not.
you're not.
No, this was something that was brought up on the audit.
Oh, that's what I meant,
Yeah, this is something that had been brought up on the audit that Rochelle wanted to get squared away.
We just needed to make a determination on what we wanted to allocate, where it needed to go to. It didn't have to go to any particular area.
I don't believe so, it just,
No.
it just said that
Yeah.
we just have to allocate it.
Yep. Because in my conversation with Dave, that's all he said, is that we had to allocate it.
Normally, we should probably have this discussion during budget time, but.
Well, that's what he said at the meeting.
Yeah, so that's why we're a little behind the 8 ball, but we'll try to discuss it at budget time.
No, I'm not asking
Okay.
for all of the money or even part of the money.
Because you got all those other farms that are all rented out too.
And all that money goes to the general fund, yeah.
did we budget for any of the revenues to go to land acquisition?
No.
So why don't we do zero? We
consistent with our budget. I mean, not that that's the policy I'm gonna stand by forever, but
No,
that's
I would agree,
how they were this year. Something comes up, we could address that we're going to make a transfer to it,
And there's
some
still
reason, but
almost $500,000 sitting in the land acquisition fund.
does that make sense to you? I mean, if we're not changing what we budgeted, how does that harm things?
Shouldn't.
Because we budgeted to fund land acquisition to offset the use of, or those funds for the bathroom, right?
Yep.
It had been in general fund.
It had been in the general fund and it got switched to the land acquisition account.
But we didn't identify a fund,
No, it was mentioned to me that,
the rents.
some of the rent money would go into the land acquisition to offset that cost.
But it came out of general.
Which is identified as, how much?
What's that?
How much?
I have budgeted $42,000. Or 41, I believe.
but that percentage we could change every year if you wanted to, couldn't we?
Yep. It's a yearly.
Not yearly, but.
Because we already got the budget all figured out, I would agree with Jason that it probably, I would say 0 for this year.
And figure out the percentage for next year.
Yeah.
But we didn't identify a way to replenish that bathroom project that is coming out of land acquisition. Here would be a way to address that.
Approximately how many dollars are coming in?
Between all of them,
Yeah.
gosh,
That's what, rent will bring it up this year, won't it?
yeah.
There's like $41,000 on the Loaf property itself.
Because last year you received $66,835.23 for land rent.
And then does that gravel money go into a separate line item, or does that figure in rent?
So that's not an every year thing.
That's not every year
Not
thing.
every year thing.
No.
When they do get it, where does it go?
Into the gravel royalties line item.
Just change my tune. I remember that conversation now, that those rents could certainly, would reasonably offset the land acquisition funds that were being used for that. Since I'd be content to identify 50% of the rents and campsite revenues to go towards that. I don't know that'll completely do it, but
Would you say
maybe do
50 or 50?
50. That'd be about 20,000 of land rent, and I'm looking at it right now, cause about 10,000 in camping fees, no, that's conservation fees.
Well, that's grants, it's like
4,900.
Yeah, that's
I still think the Hawkeye Point camping fees need to stay with that campground to continue the improvements they're trying to do.
So what we could do, we could set up another like project number in the revenue code, so we can split out campsite fees for Hawkeye Point or Willow Creek. I mean, we can do that, not a
That
problem.
would be good, because otherwise you have to try to get his board to agree with whatever this other board's doing, and how you ever wanna split the monies. And really, it all should be coming out of conservation anyway, but it doesn't. So it'd be better just, since they're, have improved that campground to the point where it's at, in order to keep people coming in there, getting all this extra revenue, it'd be nice to see that go back in there to help maintain their signs, put up their displays and all the rest of that stuff they've been working on.
We can, I'll get that set up a separate line item.
Good time to do it. We'll start the fiscal year, so.
Just so you can't get on to Oak Creek and Hawkeye tonight.
That number was about 40,000.
We budgeted 41, but we're gonna talk tonight whether or not we're gonna do a 1-hole or 2-hole. And that will, we could potentially buy 2 1-holers for the same money, so. We'll get 2 done.
I don't see why some of that money can't come out of land acquisition to pay for some of those capital improvements. Anybody else sitting around here with that much money on the side in any other budgets? I'm not saying it's gotta be spent down to 0 to 40,000 out of a $500,000, but it's gonna impact that account.
But I don't think that, I mean, if a portion of that is being used by the local request, I don't know that a bathroom at the North Y is consistent with what they were wanting to see done.
But that's commingled with a bunch of other money that was in there. Nobody sorted it out while they were doing both improvements or cleanup as to which money came out of what. It's all just one big pile. Because before that got put in there, you guys were almost up to $750 there for a while.
No.
Before you paid for the Willow Creek clean out with that low money.
No,
I don't think so.
no, before the loaf money, we had maybe,
165 or something.
yeah, close to that probably.
So like 200,000 or whatever was in there before.
Yeah, probably. The Willow Creek project definitely put a big dent in it.
That put a big dent on it, but I said all the rest of the money you guys have spent with everything cleaning up and tearing down and everything else, all these funds are commingled. There's not a separate loaf pile of money. So I don't know how, unless you wanna go back through and mark everything out.
Not really. It sounds painful.
Well, I'm just saying.
I understand that, but I think a concerted effort to be mindful of the amount of dollars that the local state contributed be used in line with what they do rather than little things here and there that eventually get into it that really aren't consistent. I understand that it's commingled, but
And I don't wanna get into a debate about what's consistent with that request, but, I could see giving a portion of it, and the rest of it staying in the general fund to pick up some of our other costs with our trail repairs and whatnot. But that's also for recreational use as well.
How about for this year, we went 25%, and then this took the year to figure out where we were at and change it next year.
I would agree with that.
okay,
I'm just throwing that out there.
25% of
land rent and camping revenues?
Yep. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I keep moving around, obviously, but now I'm thinking let's do maybe up to 50% of land revenue, land rent, and just not touch the camping revenues.
And campground
With
is
the
pretty
other-
tiny.
Especially if we're gonna identify Willow Creek separate, or, Hawkeye Point separately, 20,000 towards a budgeted 41,000 on a land rent. You do it a second year possibly, covers that. If we don't, then you're drawing down on it. I'm not saying there's not room for that either, but
So you wanted to say 20,000 on for this year rather than a percentage?
that's the latest idea I'm having. Now you're changing again.
Okay.
But I'm moving more towards just leave the camping revenues to go towards general maintenance stuff and identifying the 2 campsites separately, like you're saying. But if you wanna do 25%, we did it over 4 years, it's not the end of the, what was the term of the
Farm lease?
Farm lease?
2 years.
2 years. What are your thoughts, Nick?
Are you gonna renew those farm leases, or?
It's up to my board.
We're working on a couple of things.
Yeah, we got a couple ideas, but
They're a long ways from reality, though.
yes, I agree with that. Yeah, I have no problem putting money into the general fund, because we spend money out of the general fund, so. Yeah, 20,000 or whatever you think.
So you'd be cool with 20 for this year, and then the camping revenues being separated to their each individual campgrounds?
Well, if we would separate the Hawkeye Point revenues out, and even the Willow Creek money, I mean, if you wanna put the Willow Creek money back into Willow Creek campground, or the Willow Creek land acquisition fund, or whatever, I guess I don't have a problem with that either.
So you'd like to see the camping fees from Willow Creek down for the land acquisition?
It doesn't have to be, like I said,
Cause each camp.
I'm just trying to get along with
Every year.
Oh, yeah. So just put it in that land acquisition for him, or just put it into the general fund, figure into his information?
I would say we're making more money this year than we ever have been.
What if we had a campground someplace, so we gotta take that someplace else, or do we just Rob Swank would call it camp? I know you wanna look at Hawkeye Point and Hawkeye Point,
But that's, I mean, it's a separate group running that campsite. You guys don't run it for conservation. You don't have anything to do with what goes on over there. And then trying to get things worked out between those two different boards is just.
should it be?
I mean, that's a conversation for another day too, but the way it's currently,
It would make it simpler.
the way it's currently set
That
up,
was one, I understand.
but then we get into this, well, that's not our job, because, you know, you've got this other running this other mess over there, and it's just like, but the way it's currently set up, I guess my motion would be to give $20,000. So I guess my motion would be to give $20,000 to the land acquisition fund out of the rents coming in, rest of it go into general basic. And as far as the camping fees, whatever camping fees are garnered off of Willow Creek be earmarked for the continual maintenance of Willow Creek, and the same with Hawkeye Point. I guess you can put that Willow Creek camping you could figure it into your budget for next year, they can put it into land acquisition, whatever you prefer.
Would you repeat that motion?
Sure. Grandma, no. So my motion is, $20,000 for this year to the land acquisition fund out of the rents. And then Hawkeye Point retains their camping fees separate to maintain and continue their improvements. And Willow Creek's camping fees can either go back into general or.
I'll second that.
All right, then.
So Hawkeye Points would go into land acquisition
No, Hawkeye Points would go into what you've got described as a separate line item account
in the general fund.
in the general fund. Yeah.
So would that be,
Yes.
not to make this more confusing,
Don't do it.
Go ahead, cause I think I know what you're gonna say.
okay, so is the Hawkeye Point campground money, we still want that considered Conservation Board revenue, or do we want that considered Hawkeye Point Foundation revenue? Because even though maybe one of you is still, maybe.
By the book, it would be conservation revenue, but the way it's set up, it really should be Hawkeye Point Foundation revenue. But.
You have that ability through this resolution that was signed like 8 years ago, I believe, to take the collections of campground money at Hawkeye Point and put it into the Hawkeye Point Foundation.
Do they have their own
operating budget? Correct?
I don't know that they have their own account set up for that at this point, so it would be easier just to earmark it in general basic.
Or 501c3.
I understand that, yeah.
I mean, like,
Or would that have to be something where it goes into
It's gonna have to go into general basic.
the general basic, and then some sort of transfer is made to Hawkeye Point Foundation yearly?
They don't have to come back out, but it's gonna
I'm good.
I think that's too much, personally. Leave it the way it is, it's gonna get taken care of one way or the other.
No,
That's my opinion.
well, like, sitting on that Hawkeye Point board, I can tell you trying to get money out of you guys to help with these improvements that technically should be all of conservation's costs for the.
What did I just say, a little bit?
I get you, but nobody seems to wanna play ball with that program down there, so it's easier just to earmark the money that they've generated in revenue by the improvement, stay with the campground and continue improvement. But that's my motion, we got a second.
So, I just wanna make sure I
I think
So then-
figured out, I'll be right back.
So then, all the money that we received in the revenue for this fiscal year, then we write a check out to the Hawkeye Point Foundation?
We're not,
That's not part of it.
We're not of that.
This is just what the loan is gonna make. Where do we go with it after that? That's different, but that's where it's
Do
going.
we keep it in his department then, or do we put it in another department?
Yeah, it'd be general fund.
General fund, conservation, okay.
Identifying where revenue came from.
Yeah, it becomes a little more complicated, but I like that as an effort to show that, hey, we wanna work with you, we wanna participate with you. This group has, in the interest of county benefit, put a lot of time and effort into improving it. And you say, they go after grants each year, well, here's a way that we wanna work in conjunction with you.
And sometimes we don't get those grants.
Yeah, if some Willow Creek support group wants to start, or some entity focusing on a separate park, I guess it would be good to consider this approach with those as well, but unless and until those groups surface and have those efforts, I don't know that we need to divvy everything out separately at this point, but I like the idea, and
So then, do you feel that we need like an expense line to offset the revenue in his budget, so that we know what we're receiving and what we're expending for Hawkeye Point? I'm just thinking out loud, I don't
I
know.
know, you know what I think.
Yeah.
eventually you would probably.
But for just the discussion we're having right this minute,
Okay,
this is just how it's gonna be split out.
okay.
Can't be fees into the general fund, with where they came from, and then 20 grand.
So,
in that
20 grand again is all we can take out of the rent,
Yep.
so we get to like.
And all the remainder monies from revenue, so wait.
Okay, I
so
got that.
Hawkeye Point group finds out that half of the revenues are $2,500, they wanna do a $5,000 project and split it with this fund. We probably have to do a budget amendment to authorize the expenditure from those sections at that point. This year, but in future years, it'd be wise to authorize up to a certain percent or all of it. Yeah, it becomes complicated. I think this is a good,
It'd just be nice to kind of clean that up down there and get that kind of going in the right direction for all the efforts those guys put in. And they continually increase the amount of traffic out there every year with all the improvements, with the water and the webcams and the plug-ins, everything else, bathrooms. It's a nice setup.
And they wanna continue it, you know.
I'm gonna stick with the conservation, they did their part too.
They do a great job, Lon. Yeah.
No, you guys stuck money into that.
Yeah.
Yep.
A little bit of it, yes.
50% of the water.
Half of the water. But when that whole thing got purchased and started and everything got rolling with that, nothing to do with conservation.
I know.
Yeah, we got it all figured out. We got motion, we got.
usually helps when you're not around.
We got a motion, we got a second.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion beyond the motion, I think, but the motion is to use, or to supply $20,000 of revenue from from the land rents to land acquisition. Camping fees will remain in the general fund, and we'll identify Hawkeye Point fees separately to create some sort of reserve or some funds to be available to support their efforts.
Okay.
As far as
That's
identifying.
part of the motion,
Yes.
As far as
separating out that money?
that all camping fees will remain in the general fund. Hawkeye Point's fees will have a separate, revenue.
my motion.
As far as the actual requirement from the audit to identify revenues to the county conservation land acquisition trust fund, that would be
We have
$20,000 from
Yes.
land grant. Further discussion or clarifications, questions? Logs to be lifted?
What if you're afraid we're part of it?
Speak to it now. Yeah, right.
Well, I think it's $20,000 and I'm back to, I think it's too complicated.
Well, we can change it all next year.
It's not permanent, just for 1 year.
Okay. I'm feeling sorry for myself, to be honest with you.
I never feel sorry.
Well, I don't disagree, it's complicated, but unfortunately, that's usually the way it needs to become, to try to.
No, it doesn't. I disagree with that.
So, move along, got a motion.
Then, is that calling the question? All those in favor of the motion, as stated over and over, signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Clear as mud.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay, have a great day.
You too.
6:30, Nick?
Yep.
Do we got a huge stack of Zillows? No?
None, nobody.
None?
So I want to.
But add the paper.
Really?
Yep, nobody came forward, and all. They're supposed to contact you in your office, because when they know what, explain it, know what to come forward.
So, is that the same group that was involved in approving?
No, that's
No,
the Board of Adjustment,
Board of
this
Adjustment.
is zoning.
Zoning adjustment should have a hard time.
So it's zoning, is the Board of Adjustment taking care of zoning people?
Me.
They get this way about every time.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe I must have to ask people.
And that's just county zoning, right?
Who's on that?
Dwayne Vanderhoof. Beth, or not Beth, Cindy Cole,
Gary,
Gary Holcomb,
Ernst?
Harold Ernst, I think is on there.
Are those all town people,
you're right.
Gary's over too?
No,
So
she's
that's
not,
the adjustment.
she's the adjustment. Gary's in the country, Harold's in town, Cindy's in the country.
Harold lived in Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came in.
no takers.
Well,
They don't
we
keep that often.
do we want to identify somebody here temporarily, we can always still ask, and I would think we could
Fill in.
reappoint, or,
I'm gonna be down a meeting when we finally get the season squared away. Since that's going private, I'm up there.
yeah, I would just assume not.
I had talked to them, but then we decided to wait, so I'll ask this person again and see. Does it make a difference?
Wait till next meeting then, to see if they're willing before we do, or?
Yeah.
I'll see.
And I don't think anything's gonna come up in the meantime, but if it did, I'll volunteer to
Yeah.
go to that meeting.
Considering the appointment from within this board, but we can hear that.
Yeah, I think this guy will do it, but I didn't ask him because we were talking about getting,
Officially table it by motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table it to next meeting.
Yes. Mr. Jones and Mr. Boer, for motion support for tabling it, any further comments? All those in favor of tabling the item, signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Certified tax levies. All you got for us?
That's all I got for you. Every taxing district in our county.
And they're all correct, and that's the auditor's approval.
They are, they got certified from the state.
I would make a motion to approve that.
Approve it. Mr. Paul Jones, and Mr. Helmers. Okay. Motion from Jones, support from Helmers, certification of tax levies. Further discussion? All those in favor, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Canceled warrants over a year old.
You got a list of them?
Well, Becky just gave me what she did.
It's not this really small print, I mean, that I can't read, right?
Yeah, there were 6 of them that she canceled. Most of them was from her, that she, entered treasurer's checks were from her. We have one from, individual ambulance, and one from secondary road employee for boot reimbursement. But, a lot of it, what?
Just didn't cash the check.
They just
that
didn't
they
cash the
said
check
they
or
were
lost it,
reimbursed for.
yeah. With the ambulance, sometimes we get overpayments on ambulance calls, so that Becky does a treasurer's check on them instead of running it through our claim process because of confidentiality, give up. And there was a couple of them there that she had.
Dave said anything over a year old, so.
Yep, that's what we're doing.
If I'd make a motion to, cancel the warrants.
Jones? Mr. Schulte, for support. Further discussion on canceling the warrants over 1 year old. Hearing none, all those in favor of that motion, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Next, look at the resolution number 1, 1920. Set a date for a hearing on designation of expanded urban renewal area and renewal plan amendment and project.
Dates do we have?
We have to do August 13th. And we are all, anytime open except for 10:30 and 11, that's CD number 43.
Can we do it like 9 o'clock? Make that motion for 13th at 9 o'clock of August.
Motion by Schulte, identifying August 13 at 9 a.m. as the time for the public hearing at the courthouse.
Usually,
It would be a department head day.
yeah, it would be. Usually they're not. We do 9:15. Today they were longer than normal.
Yeah.
9:15, so I do it always. If that's okay with you, right?
Right. Then that motion would be for 9:15 on August 13th. At the courthouse, in the board. Further comments, questions? Concerning that motion to set the date of public hearing for resolution number 1. Hearing none, and Mr. Schulte, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr.
Let's get started.
I don't know if that's hard coded with, or she could make copies, larger copies.
Or a new copy.
Maybe, we'll
Make
figure
it
it out.
Bring in the one that projector.
So I used these last night, they don't, nothing caught my eye.
Jensen, I did a handwritten warrant for last fiscal year of $11,000, because we had most of it budgeted, last fiscal year, so I did that, we just had $7,000 left to pay them. What? Yeah, that other thing.
Just refresh my memory, what were we talking about with the windows?
I was just thinking that now, we're
Yeah.
in fiscal year, and then
Those windows have to be cleaned, and I don't know if we wanted to go, I don't know if Ernie was gonna do them, or if we're gonna hire somebody, but we wanted to do that, or just wait till we get the new windows, or?
Wait till the rain goes out, right?
The inside are pretty bad.
Well, I wouldn't be so bad, I'll start doing this one.
If you keep learning, you can do their own.
Sure, we'll work on that. They're a pain to get out. Oh my gosh.
But myself, I can wait till we get different windows in.
That's what I was looking for, and I didn't wanna go to that expensive hiring somebody down. Jensen did some of it. I guess the board has to decide if you want, that one contractor would like to get a, architect in here, right? So we have all the same bids sitting out for people, but I don't know what the board wants to do on that. Not for the architect, again.
right in this fiscal year, but we had budgeted to start addressing it. Put it on the agenda for 2 weeks, and see where we wanna go. Do you have someone gonna give an idea on
Yeah,
what your cost
Sioux
for
Falls,
that?
it was like 8,500 or something. Okay.
On that again tomorrow or next meeting. Should be helpful. Otherwise, I'd look at claims.
Said I didn't see anything unusual, so make a motion.
Motion by Shelby, support from Jones, any further discussion on the claims? Hearing none, all those in favor of their approval, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Couple things, just, Board of Health meeting tomorrow, and, one item is, golf course at the city of Sibley had septic tank issues and tile collapse in one of their construction processes. And, had identified that they would have a new lift station and tying into city sewer done by the end of June, and my knowledge it hasn't been done, so the Board of Health will be weighing in on that. I would assume they would set a deadline for completion tomorrow. But that previous meeting, they had sort of been willing to accept the self-identified deadline of the end of June, and now that that hasn't happened, I think action will likely be taken tomorrow. And I did get a call on the trails and needing to be told where we at. I know we talked about volunteers doing it. I know it's not technically conservation's responsibility. They may have better equipment to address it. I hate to expect our citizens to mow ditches on their property, and then we have a trail that's being on the county.
I know
I don't remember how we're left it set exactly.
Dickinson hired theirs out to their conservation department, kind of through competitive bid process, or however it was they set that up. But their conservation gets paid to the volunteers for what parts of the trail you can get volunteers?
Or there were several that had talked to me about it, but I said, until we
Figure out our volunteer,
this insurance deal, they shouldn't do it. Next, you guys got time to do it.
maybe it's a secondary road.
Yeah.
That was a nice shot, because I hate to see Nick hire somebody just to mow that, just to keep up.
Well, I understand that it wouldn't necessarily have to be their financial responsibility, but they're more set up to oversee a process like that than us sitting here trying to, it was my thought, but I'm not.
Not this week.
Time.
Not last week.
Do you want me to contact some of those?
Yeah, all they gotta do is,
Volunteer more.
yeah, all we gotta do is have a second one. If they're
I'll
using their own
stop
equipment.
going over and ask a few people, I know Zach had talked about it, and Jerry talked about it, well, several people, so. They gotta try to come to you, Rochelle, and sign one?
Yep, unless you want me to make your copy of it.
Yeah, why don't
In my
you?
office. Okay, stop you.
And I'll see if they're willing to do it, I will
Okay,
have that.
okay. Have it in my office.
And as far as, we're just talking about general stuff now, as far as that tile repair, I had a guy that looked at it, and he thinks that the guy could just fill the hole in and do a little dirt work with a skid loader, and it would probably suffice, so. He was worried about putting a new culvert in there,
Haven't
and,
for a while.
well, and then having, more water go through there than probably should go through there. And then the neighbor on the other side would be upset. So I don't know if that's our route we wanna take. Do we wanna go all new, or do we wanna, $10,000 is quite a little, I think.
That would require more than one bid.
Yeah.
When I talked to Zach this morning, he seemed to think that the other option would be to have someone crawl in there and try and patch the pipe. Because he thought the pipe was rusted out. And the big expense is you have to dig down so far that there's so much extra material and there's no place to put it.
Where are you gonna go with it,
Yeah.
But then we get into that deal with your board, the conflict of interest at $10,000 will put us way over
Well, true.
the limit on that program. So that's
If
gonna
it's
have
not
to be,
competitively bid.
yeah. Since we just had a refresher on that, Genoble. Cause I see Corbett came up on the list again.
Yeah. That's not always us though.
I know.
I mean, the sheriff's office gets them to do stuff in there too.
And the other thing was that issue we had with Doug Alexander and Favors and our right-of-way.
Yep.
And I forgot to ask Aaron, he was gonna have somebody look at it. Has anybody,
I've not
a
heard.
drainage? But I talked to both. I don't think, I'll be honest, I don't think we're gonna get any kind of a compromise done. Now, Favors claimed that there was a culvert someplace in there too, there used to be, that would take care of the water. They weren't sure, but,
Under the trail.
yeah, I'm not even sure where the culvert was. They said that there was some kind of a drainage. So I don't know where we want, the more I investigate that, the worse it gets, so. I'm not even sure. It'd probably be a question for Aaron to answer. But it's back to whose responsibility is it? And or is it just because we've had excessive rain?
I think the excessive rain has not helped the matter at all. But I mean, there is, if you go look at it, there is some plugging and siltation and stuff that's gone on down there, and the water isn't gonna move because of that.
I actually talked to a former tenant of that property, and he said the former owner used to clean that out on a regular basis on his own.
Oh, really?
So, I don't know, that's just
more information that isn't getting us anywhere, but
At least, yeah.
But as far as compromise, I'm not sure that's gonna happen.
But can't seem to get along.
Why even, suggested 3 ways if we split, or something, to see what the reaction was, and I don't think. Probably just ain't gonna happen, So, I mean, I don't know what something like that would cost, Nick, for you. It's gonna take a traffic grader to go in there.
Yep. And I would think it'd be,
$5,000 or $10,000 project, or I have no idea, Nick, do you?
I would say, I would think 5 would do it. What it costs to rent or to have somebody operate a track excavator, because I would assume it'd take a day, day and a half, I would think.
Put it on the agenda for next, and we can have Aaron, because he was gonna have an engineer and a drainage lawyer look into it, so I don't know.
The drainage issue, is that what we had before?
Yeah. And I'm like you, Jason, we could dig it out, but if it's gonna continue to happen, what are we doing? And I conveyed that to both parties, that we're really not sure.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to digging it out, I
Yeah.
just don't wanna dig it out to find out a year and a half, that you come back in, and it's not ours, to go in.
And according to the term for the former landowner, and, well, the former landowner's dead, but the tenant says that guy, he would clean it out on a pretty regular basis. I mean, every 4 or 5 years, he'd just clean it out on his own. So, anyway, that's where that is, hasn't been anyplace, but we put it on the agenda, and I'll go down and talk to Aaron.
So I guess, where are we at on the hole in the trail?
Well, I'm not sure.
Gonna have to get some bids.
Then,
If it's,
But your guy thinks he can fix it. Your guy says he wants to replace the whole thing. Guess we gotta figure out whether we wanna, what's the more viable option. What's your thoughts?
I haven't looked at the whole thing, honestly.
How big was that pipe?
10.
It was like 12 or something.
I think it's 24.
24.
Oh, is it that big?
It's a big pipe.
Oh, I used to crawl in there and patch that thing, right?
What's that?
You can crawl in there and patch that, right?
Not before the certificate of insurance.
I think that guy that I talked to was thinking about just, what is it, just kind of bent, the way I understand it?
Well,
And the pipe is actually
kinked in the middle.
got a,
I would think that.
he thought maybe you could lay something in there and just fill the hole.
Oh,
It's like a curved piece of
Yeah.
steel over the top. Then you can go back and take it out the second time.
Yeah, I
Fix it right first there.
So maybe we should just get bids for someone to replace it. You won't have to get somebody different,
steel and plastic.
other than one of your board members.
I don't believe that's the case, as long as you've gone to competitive process.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
you've got to do the
Yeah.
competitive bidding process. You can't just pick one of your board members to do it without going and getting a competitive bid.
Yeah, don't steel or plastic.
Plastic will last way longer, right?
Yeah, it will.
So I would probably go with plastic.
Dual wall plastic.
Probably get that here.
I would go with their recommendation.
Well, Mega was, they were gonna put dual wall plastic. Cause they, talking to Zach, he said the same thing, where hopefully you might be able to get someone to crawl into that hole and patch if it's rusted through, and then pour concrete around it, and then backfill it. Or you might be able to stick a new pipe into the old pipe and patch that around it. But the best way to do it would have been to dig it all out, put new pipe in, and then you're gonna have to do some erosion control or something, so you don't blow it all out on the first big rain. So I talked to contractors, get some bids.
Yeah, I just, it's words, but I just don't like using the word bids because your approaches aren't, we're not giving them a set approach to do it. To me, when you go out for bids, it's, this is what we expect, this is what you bid. We're gonna need to,
Just say I want a replacement.
yes, analyze their recommendations and realize
What it's gonna take.
dollar for dollar,
Yeah.
it's not comparing the same thing.
Yeah, just tell me you want a 24-inch dual wall pipe to replace what's in there currently, and then everybody should give you the same process to provide that service.
That I can do.
Alright.
I have one quick question. Do we have a dangerous building code thing or all for the county areas?
There's some sort of. I don't ever remember nuisance property ordinance, but.
Some of these, unincorporated areas, I mean, I realize everybody understands they're not towns, but you have people living in close proximity to one another like it is a town. And some of these abandoned homes are just chock full of raccoons, and I got a call from some guy's he's been trying to trap as many as he can get, but there's just no let up to it, because you got a building next to him that's got the windows all busted out of it, and it's raccoon house. There's a couple other ones like that, and some feral cat problems, I guess, that somebody took care of on their own as well. But if they could just kind of get some of those buildings boarded up where it's going down, because, I mean, I know it's not town, but it's an unincorporated town.
And I feel like that was dealt with in Allendorf, about my first year on the board, and check the county attorney and sheriff as to properties that they went through. I don't recall just how it was.
I don't know.
I don't think anything ever happened there, did it?
Yeah, and ended up that the neighbor was willing to purchase the property and it did get cleaned up, but
And we don't
not by
say,
the initial.
there was an open well.
That was, well, yeah, that was a lot of the dragon.
So does it fall under like a health thing?
Nuisance property, I don't know if we have a nuisance property ordinance or, no.
Northwest Iowa Planning will make one, and they'll come out and inspect it.
Because I mean, it wouldn't apply obviously to places that weren't unincorporated villages, like abandoned acreages and all that stuff, but when you got all these people living in that close of proximity like you are living in town, and you've got rodent problems that aren't, the neighbor won't tear it down or board it up to keep them out, it just creates a lot of issues for everybody else that's next door. So I wasn't sure what becomes of that, since it's technically the county. So that's a no-one question.
I would see if there's,
They can look back and see
what
what
it was, yeah, that they had sent, I know they sent it on notification.
Okay.
I wouldn't bother canceling the sheriff's deputy and getting out there to the property.
That's all I have a question. Thank you much. Well done, job.
To adjourn, Mr. Jones, support from Mr. Support, was that? Alright, any further discussion? All those in favor of adjournment, signify with aye.
Aye.
And help yourself to a donut before you leave. All those not in favor,